Chapter 10. Good Reasons. The entire mouse community, as instructed by the most very honored head mouse, had gathered behind the wall of the castle ballroom. The members of the Mouse Council sat atop 3 bricks piled high, and spread out before them was every mouse, old and young, foolish and wise, who lived in the entire castle. They were all waiting for Desperaux. "Make way," said Furlough. "Here he is. I've got him. Make way, make way." Furlough pushed through the crowd of mice. Desperaux clung to his brother's tail. "There he is," the mice whispered. "There he is, there he is. Oh my gosh, he's so small. They say he was born with his eyes open." Some of the mice pulled away from Desperaux in disgust, and other thrill seekers reached out to touch him with a whisker or a paw. The princess put a finger on him. They say he sat at the foot of the king. "It is simply just not done," came the distinctive voice of Desperaux's Aunt Florence. "Make way," shouted Furlough. "I have him right here. I have Desperaux Tilling, who's been called to sit with the Mouse Council." He led Desperaux to the front of the room. "Honored members of the Mouse Council," shouted Furlough, "I have brought you Desperaux Tilling, as you requested, to sit with you." He looked over his shoulder at Desperaux. "Let go of me," Furlough said. Desperaux dropped Furlough's tail. He looked up at the members of the Mouse Council. He met his father's gaze, and then shook his head and looked away. Desperaux turned around and faced the sea of mice. "To the dungeon!" a voice cried out. "Straight to the dungeon with him!" Desperoux's head, which had been full of such delightful phrases as "happily ever after" and "lovely ears" and "I honor you," suddenly cleared. "Straight to the dungeon!" another voice shouted. "Enough!" said the most very honored head mouse. "This trial will be conducted in an orderly fashion. We will act civilized." He cleared his throat. He said to Desperaux, "Son, turn and look at me." Desperaux turned. He looked up and into the head mouse's eyes. They were dark eyes, deep and sad and frightened. And looking into them, Desperoux's heart thudded once, twice. "Desperaux Tilling," said the head mouse. "Yes, sir," said Desperaux. "We, the 14 members of the Mouse Council, have discussed your behavior. First, we will give you a chance to defend yourself against these rumors of your egregious acts. Did you, or did you not, sit at the foot of a human king?" "I did," said Desperaux, "but I was listening to the music, sir. I was there to hear the song that the king was singing." "To hear what?" "The song, sir. He was singing a song about the deep purple falling over the sleepy garden hills." The head mouse shook his head. "Whatever are you talking about is beside the point. The question is this and only this. Did you sit at the foot of a human king?" "I did, sir." The community of mice shifted their tails and paws and whiskers, and they waited. "And did you allow the human girl, the princess, to touch you?" "Her name is P." "Never mind her name. Did you allow her to touch you?" "Yes, sir," said Desperaux. I let her touch me, and it felt good. A gasp arose from the assembled mice. Desperaux heard his mother's voice. Mon Dieu, it is not the end of the world. It was a touch. What of it? It is simply not done, came Aunt Floris's voice from the crowd. To the dungeon, said a mouse in the front row. Silence, roared the most very honored head mouse. Silence. He looked down at Desperaux. Do you, Desperaux Tilling, understand the sacred, never to be broken rules of conduct for being a mouse? Do you understand them? Yes, sir, said Desperaux. I mean, I guess so, but did you break them? Yes, sir, said Desperaux. He raised his voice. But I broke the rules for good reasons, because of music and because of love. Love? Said the head mouse. Aw, cripes, here we go, said Furlough. I love her, sir, said Desperaux. We are not here to talk about love. This trial is not about love. This trial is about you being a mouse, shouted the very most honored head mouse from the high atop the bricks, and not acting like a mouse. Yes, sir, said Desperaux. I know. No, I don't think you do know, and because you do not deny the charges, you must be punished. You are to be sent, as ancient castle mice law decrees, to the dungeon. You are being sent to the rats. That's right, shouted a mouse in the crowd. That's the ticket. The dungeon? The rats. Desperaux's small heart sank all the way to the tip of his tail. There would be no light in the dungeon, no stained glass windows, no libraries, no books. There would be no Princess P. But first, said the most very high-honored mouse, we will give you the chance to renounce your actions. We will allow you to go to the dungeon with a pure heart. Renounce? Repent. Say that you are sorry that you sat at the foot of the human king. Say that you are sorry you allowed the human princess to touch you. Say that you regret these actions. Desperaux felt hot, and then felt cold, and then hot again. Renounce her? Renounce the princess? Mon Dieu, shouted his mother. Son, do not act the fool. Renounce, repent. What do you say, Desperaux Tilling? I say, no, whispered Desperaux. What? Said the head mouse. No, said Desperaux, and at this time he did not whisper the word. I am not sorry. I will not renounce my actions. I love her. I love the princess. There was a bellow of collective outrage. The whole of the mouse community surged towards Desperaux. The mice seemed to become one angry body with hundreds of tails and thousands of whiskers and one huge, hungry mouth opening and closing and opening again, saying over and over and over, to the dungeon, to the dungeon, to the dungeon. The words pounded through Desperaux's body with each beat of his heart. Very well, said the most very honored head mouse. You will die, then, with a black heart. Threadmaster, he called, bring out the thread. Desperaux marveled at his own bravery. He admired his own defiance. And then, reader, he fainted.